Exciting times,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Always went back and forth with Hogan. Sometimes, he didn't do so bad. Then I'm like, why'd he do that?
I think sometimes everyone asks that question about everyone, unfortunately.
For sure. No doubt. You can't make everybody happy.
So everyone listening in, you're getting a opinion piece on Maryland politics now.
Wow.
Lucky day.
You really want to know what I think? And their new bullshit gun laws?
Mm.
Yeah,
So it's
they're always,
a fun time.
always looking for something to do. Those guys.
Mm-hmm. Something that doesn't work out in our favor. I'm always hoping Western Maryland secedes and falls into West Virginia.
That could happen.
Yeah.
They talk about it like every 4 years. They talk about it.
But that would be
happens,
more
of
like
course, probably never
that
will.
wouldn't be. I mean, west of you, more like Cumberland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would probably represent us better out here.
Would Hagerstown fall under that? Do you think? Is that kind of the edge?
Yeah. It every time they discuss it, the lines would go down between Hagerstown and Frederick.
Interesting.
So Frederick would stick around. Yeah.
Sounds like it's potentially going to happen in Oregon.
I know. I was just reading about that yesterday, and that actually sounds semi-promising for him.
No, one of their senators is pushing for it.
Yep. Man, if one state, if one state doesn't, and actually, pulls through with it, it could start a small domino effect. Who knows?
Yeah, a whole new game of gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have to buy a new map.
Yeah.
When did I can't remember when West Virginia separated from Virginia.
Oh, that's a great trivia question, and I have no answer to that.
That was around the Civil War.
Yeah, it was.
Well, here, 3 seconds, fellas.
Okay.
1863.
All right, hello.
Hello.
Get back to mountain men politics and who's
Appalachia.
where.
Appalachia.
Yeah, Appalachia. There you go. Mountain men are up here. What am I talking about? It's the Green Mountain Boys.
We got Sasquatch. Sightings.
Coal mine.
Yep. West Virginia gets a bad rap, but it's actually a beautiful state.
Yeah, it is.
Very
Well,
Maryland is too, where you guys are.
What's funny is if you go to the Caps game at all down here, between the second and third period they always have the West Virginia trivia, and it's always the same answers. The answer is always West Virginia, but they play the song, but the John Denver song.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they show the beautiful pictures of the scenery, and it's stunning looking. It's but you're right. It gets a bad rap.
It does.
The jokes,
come on, man. Good John. Yeah, it's all about the jokes. It doesn't help whenever they cast movies like Wrong Turn based in West Virginia.
Deliberate, I believe too. Correct.
Ned baby.
Well, should we change the subject over to
What's
technology,
what's up today,
transportation, NADA, and getting cars from port faster?
Let's do a quick intro.
Yeah, so Dan, it's your second time here.
Yes, thanks for having us back, or having me back.
Of course.
Thanks for allowing me. I'm David.
Well,
absolutely.
So y'all found it. Did you guys found Autosled together?
We did.
Yeah, we it's Dave came to me. He's 25 plus years in the retail business, and came to me, and we kind of kicked this around, and then we, sat down and said, this is something we need to get into. So we're the co-founders of this company, and it's been great. I mean, almost 4 years now we've been incorporated and running and doing business for a little under 3, and it's growing like a rocket ship.
And
what
your
inspired you to
parents
get
still
into
around? If you don't mind me asking. Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Say again.
Are y'all's parents still around?
Mother.
So our mother actually works for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother topic.
We don't have enough time to cover that in this episode. Unfortunately, we love her and she's amazing.
She helps with payroll and some back office stuff. But
I think you mentioned that our last podcast.
82 years young and a lot of energy.
Yes.
Crazy amounts. I wish I could bottle it.
How did they do that?
Crazy energy.
I don't know. But our father passed away 24 years ago, but he was a retail car guy too. So yeah, we've been around the car business our whole life. But yeah, it's great coming in every day. It's the first time I got to work with the guy. Minus years back working in a restaurant when we were kids, and first time working with my mom, which the jury's out if that's fun or not, but it's great to see her every day.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
I worked with my mom for almost 20 years at Checkered Flag, little south of y'all.
Wow.
Then, yep, she was running the CDK DMS systems, and I was doing the internet and CRM and whatnot. So we crossed paths occasionally, but she didn't have to put me in my place or anything. So that was.
Well, I mean, Rose, our mother's name is Rosalie. We call her Rose. She technically works for me, but she's kind of the house mother for the company. Everyone goes to her, with anything and everyone. And, as Dave calls her, 88 questions, Rose, because she can ask you 88 questions, 88 different ways until she gets the answer she wants. So,
without taking a breath.
Right.
88 questions.
Hey, look, when you've got your business, it's imperative you have people who work for you that you can trust, and there's no one better.
That's right.
That's why we brought her in. It was Dave's suggestion that when we got to a time when we were starting really to conduct a business, he looked at me and says, we need to bring Mom in to do this and help us out and take care of some of the things that you, like you said, you trust people with. So it was Dave's idea.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate. I mean, some of the people who came with us, a couple people that were with me in retail, one guy was an OEM, my factory rep. And that was really good people that I've known a while. So, it was natural, I think.
Yep, that helps so much. So,
yeah.
Mom's going to NADA, yes or no?
No, so NADA is going to be me. Dan's going to stay back here at work, and I'm gonna work at NADA. So, but Bart Schuster's going with us, Sam, Jim, and I think that's it. Maybe Peyton will be down there, but there's 5 of us down there. So yeah, we're real excited about it. Booth 3323, right at Hall C, right across from the NADA Pavilion. So feel like we have a great location. Everyone visits at NADA Pavilion, so we hope to see a lot of familiar faces and a bunch of new faces also. So yeah, we'll be there. We're flying in Thursday, and then obviously be there through close Sunday night.
Yeah, and we're actually going to give away $100 grand. So it's
what?
Something we're doing down there with Dave. Dave will have more details down there for the dealers, or can kind of go over it now a little bit. It's something we're excited about. We think it's gonna, bring people by and see what we can get. So
so real quick, and love to see some new faces, but just really to sign up some new dealers and new shippers, but a cashback program to ship vehicles with us through the end of the quarter until end of March. So, but yeah, we're gonna put $100,000 aside for this, and to just love to give it back to the dealers and see if we can generate a bunch of new business and a bunch of new leads and just have a successful show. So again, I gotta plug it, but the booth 3323, come see me.
Bye.
Well, who wouldn't if you got the opportunity to cash back on $100,000? Hell, I may turn around and make the trip.
You got some cars to ship. Come on down. We'll get you some cash back.
Yeah, that's a hell of a great idea, by the way.
It's again, we're lucky enough with both sides of the marketplace. We have great shippers, dealers, and great transporters, and the dealers get bad reputations. Car guys are next to lawyers, I guess, right? But we love them, and we've been in that industry, so we understand the stress points, and we want to help them out and encourage them to see what we have. And same with the transporters. We make sure these guys are treated well and taken care of and paid quickly, because it's important. These guys have a tough life, and we want to make sure everyone is, because they, it's a circular business. One helps the other. They have to. You need both sides of those coins to make this industry work. So it's important.
Yeah. Can't reiterate more. Taking care of the transporters. That's
and that's why I believe that's why I'm sitting here. I was living the dealer life for almost 25 years, and I could see what was happening. But as I would go out and literally talk to them and trying to figure out where they're going next and where they've come from and how they're filling the spots, and it was just a lot of blank stares. And I'm like, boy, we need technology behind this. They need an app to be able to, as they're pulling into a location or leaving a location or sitting, eating a sandwich or having a coffee at a location, to figure out, hey, what's around me? And that's, and when it's funny, like I had some conversations with some people literally on my lawn, and I'd be like, hey, I got cars going. Are you going south, north, east? Which way are you going? And they'd look at me, and it was almost like, how are we going to consummate this deal? Like, yes, I have some spots. I just dropped off 2 for you. I have 2 spots. But how are we consummating this deal? And then, my whole head's going, okay, insurance and how am I going to pay? And what's the next person, the receiver, going to think? If I got to call, there's all these factors that had to come into place. And boy, Autosled, we believe we're tech first company. So I want to, how do we put this around in an app so the drivers could just look at their phone and take a couple takes, just like an Uber driver takes a couple taps, like an Uber driver or Lyft driver takes a couple taps and picks up a ride. And it just wasn't apparent that was out there. I guess that was 2018. And it was just really frustrating. And I'm sure they thought I was nuts when I'm trying to throw cars on their truck as they just deliver to me. But then, then of course they're asking me a million questions, and then all that led to was more phone calls. Hey, their truck owner or their dispatcher, and then the person at the next place, and who's paying, and how we're getting gate passes, and is there pictures, is there bill? All these questions I just created. So I'm like, boy, put this in one place so the dealers can just go to one place and look at all these things, from dispatching to bill latings to payments, to, God forbid, if there's damage, which happens in a lot of averages, and then year-end type of stuff. So that was, really, when you say taking care of the drivers, I just felt like and I was probably one of them, and definitely guilty at some point, not having checks ready, not having the requirements or the stuff they asked me. But look, we want to pay the drivers quick, take care of them, and then that makes them loyal to the app and makes them loyal ultimately to the shippers, which are the dealers. And that's the key, is just to keep their loyalty, keep them fed, and keep them happy. And then I believe we'll all get better service, which what trickles down to the customers. Look, we're all out in the survey world, right? New cars, CPOs, all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, if the final user, the last mile user, whatever you want to call it, has a good experience, and I believe it just follows right back up to the top of any deal or any shipper's organization.
Yeah, it's nice too, because the shippers have a uniform experience. These guys aren't having 14 BOLs and cocktail napkins and different things. They have a uniform platform that they can run through. So it's easy for them to have it all in one place and have the same experience over and over again.
You touched on the pay, and from what I gather, I guess on average you've got it down to almost 2 days, which is super quick within that area. What was it before, and how did you improve upon
I mean, the app, so when we first kind of beta tested this, when Dave came to me, I was doing some old school broker, phone, computer, and a spreadsheet. And, the sad part is after 10 months of this, I still had 20 some $1,000s of checks on my desk that no one had ever even asked me for to be paid. They know the cars were delivered. I delivered them to Dave, so I know they were delivered. But by the time these guys are out driving around, get home, do the invoice, email the invoice out. I mean, I was paying them the second the invoice came in, I'd cut a check. But the average time frame is somewhere between 30 and 45 days for these guys. And the problem is, too, these guys are on the road, so it could be longer because if they're not going home for 30 or 45 days, the checks are sitting in their mailbox. I mean, there are factoring companies that will help you get your money faster for 3, 4, 5%. I know there are competitors that do that. They pay in 2 days with a fee, basically. We don't do that. We think these guys have a hard enough life. They deserve every nickel they make. So we get it to them as fast as possible. Our system will literally, when the BOL is, viewed and completed in our process, it triggers a payment right into their bank account. So it literally goes automatically in. These guys see it. And it's funny because the first couple months we were doing this, people call and say, I haven't gotten paid. And we'd be like, well, we paid you 3 weeks ago. And then they're like, well, you did? I'm like, yeah, bank account 1234, Wells Fargo. And they're like, hold on. And they go, oh, yeah, you're right. Thanks. Sorry. And then, so now it's funny is these guys are so used to it from us. You don't get phone calls anymore because they just know it's going to hit their bank account.
Well, in the part that Dan said about the 700 some cars that I knew were delivered because I either signed for them or some of my managers was like, boy, 25,000. Most dealers would probably say, wow, this is great, right? I'll just roll that back in 13th month kind of statement. It'll be a big Christmas, or we'll throw it towards whatever. But I was like, this is horrible because now these drivers who need this, that are really struggling, that need fuel and need upkeep, maintenance to their truck, shower, whatever, hotel room, food, they don't have that money. And unfortunately, some of them weren't organized enough to send the invoice in. I'm like, boy, this is actually a bad problem. They need this. And a dealer, might think, oh, wow, I'll just scoop that 25 grand. But heck, I'd rather give it to them, the drivers, and then all of a sudden they're loyal. And then they're looking at me for my loads first, and they care more, and they're doing exactly as we're asking or as they promise. So we just feel like just paying them as quick as possible is the key, and we're working on something that would be more of a Venmo Zelle style where they can get paid in an instant type of manner when they're on the lot, so they can plan their cash flow and their business out better, which again it's all about driving the loyalty to the dealer. When they care and they see that and they can actually spend the money that minute for whatever their needs are, then they're just going to be more loyal to the shipper, the dealer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's encouragement like no other. I mean, the fact that, you can get paid that quick. If I'm looking at two possibilities and I know one's going to take, maybe a couple weeks versus 2 days. I mean, like you said, that brings about loyalty pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, we see it in everyday transactions, right? With people that might help us cut our grass or do yard work or babysit or walk the dog or whatever. What do? They're literally in our driveway on our doorstep, and we Venmo them or Zelle them or something, right? Hey, okay, I owe you $50. Boom, and it's there. And so obviously they know you're good for it because you've given it to them, and it's there. And what do? They come back. It's funny. This is one company in my neighborhood, and the guy comes around. He'll give us an invoice, but he does a bunch of yard work, and we Zelle him right there. And man, I'll tell you, he doesn't miss a week, or miss a quarter, or miss a cleanup, or miss a spring or fall. Because he's literally driving out of the neighborhood. There's probably 80 houses in the neighborhood, and he's got. My guess is he's probably got thousands more as he does these cleanups, and he's got 2 little crews with him. But I think the drivers, unfortunately, we dealers just haven't done a good job of taking care of them, and they're so necessary to our business.
So, you definitely have taken some steps out of the transaction process. What have y'all done for the transport process on the more logistical side?
The biggest thing is, it takes on average about 10 phone calls to fill one spot. So, a guy with a 3-car carrier is making 30 calls. With our self dispatch, which is about 80% of our loads, they don't, there's no human contact. There's no phone call. They can tap and take. They have all the information they need. They can do the load without having to talk to anyone. Not that we don't love talking to these guys, but for them, it's more efficient, right? They can get on with their day. They can plan their route, and they can do from start to finish and then click a button and get paid without having to send an invoice or do anything. So these guys are now able to literally build more time into their day versus having to call or search for loads. Or on the flip side, these guys pay some of these dispatch companies, and they're losing 5-10% for someone making these phone calls. They don't need to do that anymore. And we want to pay them again quicker. We're not an asset-based company. We don't want to own trucks. We think these guys out there who are professionals who do this for a living, we want them to be loyal to us, like Dave said, which is the pay. So if we can do that and treat them well, we don't want to ever, own trucks. We'll let the professionals do it. That's what they get paid to do. We just want to make sure they're taken care of. So with with them having more time because of the ease of the platform, the ability to dispatch, not have to do invoices, not have to send paperwork in to get paid, this makes their life easier.
Oh, yeah, to piggyback what Dan was saying, and we kind of internally say pretty much 9 at night till 5 in the morning, or what we would consider our after hours. We do have some staff that answers the phone, but last night there was 31 self dispatches from 9 o'clock to 5 in the morning. So that means, look, the dealers are hopefully home sleeping, or the shippers are home sleeping, but transporters are ending their day and then ultimately starting their day, figuring out where they're going. But 31 different trucking companies took loads while literally the shippers, the dealers were sleeping. So that's great, because I mean, no dealers are going to want to take a transporter call at 10:30 at night to try and figure it out, but they could just go on. And in those 31 cases, those cars are now assigned and scheduled for pickup here the next 24 to 48 hours.
This is the tech. This is why we're a tech first company. The tech allows these guys to do more after hours. It allows them to do more of their business, and we don't have to have the personnel behind it. So ultimately what it means is we can charge less to the dealers. We pay a fair rate to the transporters, but the dealers are, getting their cars faster because these guys don't have to wait to talk to someone. So, the tech enables everyone to kind of move faster versus that manual process that everyone's been used to. And it drives costs down, not only the transporters, because like you said earlier, if you have a $300 load and one $315, you might take the $300 load because you're going to get paid in 2 days versus the $315, $325, because you have to wait 30 days. That time value of money is important. So, we see the technology as the key to this industry and what we have coming in the roadmap. Dave, talked about some faster pay. There's some other things that we have coming, hopefully in 23. We're already building some of them. When we roll them out, we're working on, but that will continue to help both the shippers and the transporters, because again, it's that flywheel effect. One helps the other.
So for the shippers, they're, I assume, using a mobile app.
The transporters are mobile and desktop.
Okay.
The dealers right now are desktop because these guys are not walking around the lot.
They don't
We're
want
working on a desktop, a mobile version for them as well. But these guys traditionally use the desktop.
Okay. And it's, as a technology company, how much fun is it maintaining a mobile app and a website for?
Well, we have guys to do that because neither one of us are tech guys. We're not programmers. We're not coders. We've learned a lot, but we have a great tech team, a great tech leader. And, we continue to innovate, trying to be cutting edge and trying to create some very, great features for these guys. And we're always thinking, what else do we need? We talk to our transporters. We talk to our shippers. What do you guys need? What would help? And we've, some of the new things we come up with or have come up with have come from those people, because again, they're the ones who drive the industry. We might think they know what they want, but we don't know everything.
No, nothing like getting it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have regular conversations with with both sides, with all your clients to understand what their desires and wishes are. And like I said, things have already been developed that we've gotten the ideas from and are on the roadmap to develop because of those guys.
So you say that's in house? Is that something you've brought that whole piece in house?
Everything's
That's
built
nice.
within with our Autosled team.
That's awesome.
Is your team working around the country, or is it mostly are they working in the headquarters?
Around the world.
Yeah, there's people in Honduras. There's probably people in 6, 7 states here. There's a couple people in developers in Ukraine. There's a couple. I don't know. You know the other. What's the other?
I mean, there's
Colombia,
Uruguay. There's Ukraine. There's 6 or 7 states in the state. They're all over the place, and they do what we do. Sitting in office is great, and they come in from time to time. A couple of them are here today. They like to come in on Fridays. It kind of the guys who are local to the Maryland office, but they're on a Zoom in the back room with people around the world talking right now. So yeah, they kind of run all the time.
Is your platform are you exclusive to the United States, Canada, or are you also operating in other countries?
Right now, we've really focused on just the U.S. We see an opportunity down the road to be able to go other places, but this is a big enough pond, and there's enough here to get figured out first before we try to venture into other places. But interestingly enough, we know it works. We know the tech works in Canada because we've had someone go up there and play with it when they were on vacation, so we know it works. There's conversion rates and things like that, but it would work anywhere.
I would think so. I mean, unless there's some, different laws or something like that. I can't imagine what that would be, but
there's
I guess you never know.
That's up to Canada because you got to do that French stuff, and
certain places
changes some of the UI a bit.
Yeah, but we're not there yet. We want to really just crush the U.S. market and help everyone. And we think there's an opportunity to really change this, one of the last bastions of the car business that's kind of untouched by tech.
It's true.
Yeah, it's funny. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was thinking more about that statement. It's like, yeah, that really is the last places that tech is.
Everyone thinks about, Dave, what are there, 54 wholesale platforms or something like that right now?
Retail. Yeah.
Like the Carvanas of the world, Digital retailers. They sprung up all over the place. But not a lot of them really thought about how you get the cars from point A to point B. So again, this is a spot for us. It's interesting. We're working with some OEMs and some of the ports, and we're having some bigger conversations with them because they need tech help. They need someone to help them with that process because they're still doing it like it was when our father was a car dealer. It's the same kind of concept. It hasn't changed in a long time. So we're in conversation with them. It's a great opportunity for Autosled to help because we hear it from our shippers who are the manufacturer dealers that they can see their cars, they know they're there ready for them, but they can't get them out. So
I was going to ask you about
sorry, jumping on top of you, Jeff.
You do it every time, Alex.
I know.
I'm just going to sit back here and watch you talk.
No, I just wanted to tackle that port thread a little further. And so traditionally, what are the holdups in getting the cars out of port?
The traditional broker model is these guys are taking 8 and 9 cars going to one location or a very close location. COVID kind of crushed that with the chip shortage and where the cars are coming in and the inventory size is changing. It's more 3 and 2 and 3. So the economics don't work for those the big companies to take 8 cars. They're not going to wait. They're either going to wait for 8 cars, so the cars are going to sit there, or they're not going to take them and they're going to put it out to someone else. So, we've taken a lot of the business from the ports, and we're continuing to grow that business. And it's a huge opportunity to help these guys out and help them get their cars out, because it's ones and twos. It's the same thing with the old brick and mortar. You used to go to the brick and mortar auction, which Dave knows better than anyone, and you'd buy 10 cars. Those 10 cars were there. Now they're at 10 different spots.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the nimble to be able to take smaller loads, 1, 2s, and 3s and 4s, and go to general locations. And look, there's a lot of retail clamor because for that or need, because a lot of the vehicles are sold, right? There's a lot, especially in these new cars. There's deposits on them, and customers and that again trickles all the way up. Salespeople and managers and general managers and owners are hearing about it. Hey, I need my car, and a lot of the dealers have sight to where they can literally see the car and know it's there. But the ports are waiting for a full 8, 10, 9, 10 car load to be made, and that's just not happening quick enough.
And for the transporter side, the other side of our market, these guys who were never really able to go in there because they didn't have an 8-car carrier. That's not the norm. These guys are 2 and 3 car haulers. They can now go in there, and they have regular business if they live near a port. They have regular business on a consistent basis. So for these guys, it's a great opportunity. And we've noticed when we started building the business out of one particular port, the same guys are coming back. They're calling us. When's the next load coming in? I'll set this week aside for you guys to move the car. So it's a great opportunity for them as well.
And the OEMs got smart. I mean, there's 24-hour pickup at some of these places, and they've moved them out of the ports where some of the documentation, the TWIC cards and stuff are needed. So it's been great for the dealers because they can get them quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance on this part, but when it comes down from getting from the port to the dealership, who traditionally has been in charge of that? Is that the manufacturers in charge of that, or is it the port that's in charge? Is it the port that actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a combination of the two, the port, the manufacturer, but there's a tendering company that handles a lot of things, and the OEM handles a lot of things. So they work together. But they're so used to, again, working with the big 8-car carriers because it's going from point A to point B, where that's now shifting, like David said, where it's the nimbleness for us and our transporter network to have 2 and 3 cars go in there and pick those 2 or 3 up versus them sitting for 4 weeks while they wait for 8.
Yeah, you got to wonder, and especially over the last 2 years, like how many cars are sitting down there because they can't get a carrier filled. I mean,
Jeff, it was incredible. I had a chance to go visit 3 ports earlier or in the last quarter, the last 3 months, and in Virginia Beach, it was crazy. There was at least 4,000 cars sitting there, and obviously I couldn't count them. I said to someone standing there that I was talking to this lady, and I said, "What do you think's here? How many?" She says, "Oh, probably 4, at least 4,500." I'm like my eyes, and she's like, "I know what you're thinking. They're all probably sold, right?" I said, "Yeah, probably." or a dealer can if they can get their hands on. She said, and I just always just driving me crazy. Like, wow, how long have they been sitting there? If the dealers could actually see this, if I took a picture, this would drive a bunch of people crazy. And that there was literally rows and football fields after football fields of cars. Different. It was nuts. Mm-hmm. Never seen anything like it. That were just sitting, waiting for transport, and there wasn't
just waiting for a carrier.
We're already the port installed options and the things that need to be done were already done. They were just waiting for a driver.
And I'm sure y'all wouldn't mind adding 2,000 more jobs to your boats.
No, it's a great, like I said, it's a great opportunity. We've been lucky, and we see it as a continual growth that we're talking with more and more. And it's something we're ready to do. I mean, it helps the dealers, which are our clients. It helps the manufacturers, which are our clients. It helps the transporters, again, which are our clients. And it's just an overall win-win for the industry.
I would think that a brand like Jeff's, Mercedes-Benz, this would be beneficial to them, even in regular times when they're producing full on capacity and everything is full on because there's volume. We're not filling 12 cars on a truck here at every dealer every time, and same with
Yeah.
bulk.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's definitely been a handful of times that, there's a car sitting down at the port, and I guess we've gotten something back saying we don't know when it's going to make its way here because just what you're talking about, they're waiting on a carrier to get filled up before, they're going to make that trip. And there's been times where we've sent, someone that we use for all of our towing and carrying and all that good stuff. We'll send him down to go pick up a car or two every now and then. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
And how close are you to the port, Jeff?
An hour and a half, Baltimore port. So
Yeah,
I mean, probably about an hour to well, that's actually on the other side. Probably about an hour and a half.
Do you get reimbursed for that?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not sure. My guess is probably not.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was just curious if you,
I mean, like you said, Jeff, the problem is, I mean, the dealers can see their cars. Like you're probably, we have dealers who drive by the ports because of where their dealerships are. Like I can see my cars; they're right there, but I can't get my car. And some ports won't let the dealers send the people down to get them. We have an incident with a dealer group that had 200 cars stuck at a railhead, and they wanted us to move them. Very similar manufacturing, new cars, and the only way for us to do them is no transporters unless they were, the big carriers could come in the railhead. So the only way to do it was to send a dealership person up to the railhead to move them 60 yards basically off the property across the street to put on a transport to then go to the dealership. That's how, I mean,
there's
why?
A lot of some of these ports have laws and have different, I mean, we've had to build some things into our app for the transporters. It's like that are security measures that talk about being off the premises and releases and when they not only when they get the vehicle they're doing a BO, but they're also left the property of the port and all these jurisdictions just have different type of laws. They have their own kind of fiefdom, so to speak, and that they've enabled or happened over the years. So it's funny because every port's different. Every port has different requirements for what they want. And obviously security is very because there's not just cars coming in there. And of course, the four of us and the people listening, we care about cars probably more than the average person, but there's other, materials and things coming in, consumer goods coming in. But the security is crazy tight. I mean, it's funny. Like you're on the port, and you have to wear like this yellow vest, and you have to be with someone with the badge. You have to be, they search your car coming in, and they search your car coming out, and it's fine. That's just the way they do it at the checkpoint. But
I get that.
It's interesting, very, which is good.
It's good
for our safety, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But there's got to be a better way, and obviously that's what you guys have been working on and pushing forward with.
Yeah. And some of the companies that run the ports they're figuring it out. There's got to be a better way and a quicker way, and it also frees up their space and their personnel. But they're working on ways and they've obviously helped us with some of the things we've been able to build and some contracts we've been able to get. But yeah, there's, again, like you said, there's got to be a better way because it's just got to happen faster. I mean, look, in this world we're in, this Amazon world, I mean, it's funny. I have a 5-year-old, and he came home the other day from school talking about some, I don't even know what they are. Like, they're like marker pens, paint things. I don't even know what they are. And my wife, Saturday morning, it's right? And guess what happens at 5:00 Saturday afternoon? Like, he's looking out the window like, oh yeah, there's the great man, and they're there, right? I mean, we were talking about this eating pancakes at 7:30 in the morning, and by 5, he's making a picture with them. The world we're in, and I just doesn't understand why we as consumers don't understand why this can't happen with the car we've ordered, right?
Yeah, it's definitely spoiled us, and the problem with that is, the average consumer thinks, well, if Amazon can do it, why can't I have it done for anything and everything? And
Yep.
you think about the younger generation. I mean, at least with us, we look at it as a benefit. It's not something that we've come to expect, but that was more of a learnt process. Whereas your younger generation, that's just been the norm. Like, what do you mean
Yeah,
it's going to take
they
months
don't
to
know,
get it?
they don't remember the days of ordering the LL Bean stuff and filling out the slip and sliding your check in and sending that away, and 4 weeks later your LL Bean stuff. They don't remember any of that.
COD, baby. Cash
We'll never
on
know.
delivery.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
never will. Never will. Well, it sounds to me like you guys have sort of been that disruptor of that whole side of the business. I mean, is that fair to say?
I mean, that's a great term, I guess. But Dave and I look at it as we're just two old car guys. I mean, we know the pain that these guys go through. The salesmen, the general managers, the dealerships, the transporters. It's how do we take this and just make it easier for everyone? How do we make it everyone's life more efficient? Technology is what brings it all together. And so we just see it as an opportunity to take something that's, I don't want to say broken. It's not. It worked.
Fragment.
Right. There you go. And just bring it together and make it cohesive, because we think that this is something that needs to be done, because people want their cars faster and more efficient, and you got to have the tools in place to make it so everyone is happy. And if we can do that, where we can handle logistics better for the dealerships, make their life easier, the transporters more loyal, it will affect everyone in a positive manner. That's basically, I mean, that's what we're trying to do.
It occurred to me just a moment ago that maybe there's some dealers who should come see you at an ADA, not just for the $100,000, but also because there might be some ports that you can move on faster than others.
Yeah,
There
definitely.
different parts of the country you guys are better at or quicker with.
I mean, the port work we're doing now is East Coast based. We have not gone to the West Coast yet. Working on some stuff that will happen, and also with the dealers. I'd like to point out. I mean, we have some larger dealer groups that we're moving a bunch of stuff internally, where they've made decisions to keep stuff in the family before they send it out to auction or to their competitors or the Carvanas or CarMaxes of the world. So we see some movement inside their organizations and to keep it in the family. So yeah, I'd love to see dealers if they want to talk about that, and basically their logistics, other avenues other than just getting new cars or cars from auctions or retail deliveries too.
We
see a lot of dealer to dealer stuff happening.
Yeah, we move stuff nationwide. We were obviously founded on the East Coast, so we started here. But we moved cars in every state minus Alaska. Actually, do we move? I think we moved one to Alaska. We've never gone to Hawaii. But 49 of the 50 states we've moved cars either to or from. So we're continuing to grow. Our transporter base grows exponentially monthly, which is great. And again, we just think there's an opportunity for anyone who needs to move a car, shipper, dealers to we can streamline the process and help them out.
What was involved in getting a car to Hawaii?
We didn't get it to Hawaii. That was Alaska. So
Alaska.
We took it to the Seattle port and then put it on a boat, and it went across to the port over there. Then we had a transporter on the Alaska side pick it up and take it to the end user.
Patience.
Patience.
That's it. It's going to take some time.
It was not a fast
process.
I remember somehow I got connected with a small outfit up in Canada, and every time we would trade in a Corvette, I mean, they pay top dollar. As soon as I got traded in a vet, I would call him. He'd give us top dollar for it, and I would put together the shipping to get it up to Canada. The biggest obstacle then was having different safety regulations on the vehicles, bumpers, all that good stuff. So they actually had to make quite a few adjustments before it could be accepted into Canada. That was always sort of a pain point for us. I mean, we got it done, and we didn't actually have to do the work, but I do remember having to set everything up, and that was many years ago. And I recall being like, man, there's got to be some technology. Someone's got to come up with something to make this way more efficient. And here you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, just getting the cars moved into Canada is a fun. I mean, we haven't really. I think we moved a couple up into Canada, bringing them from Canada for sure.
Okay,
but we haven't really ventured too much into that market. We think again, there's enough opportunity in the 48 states for us to sink our teeth in, and we're continuing to build this network here.
I mean, Jeff, are you seeing a lot of Canadian titles and stuff at auction, or still pretty rampant?
You definitely hear about
I
here. So the closer you are to the border, the more it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially with trucks. So
I would say we see a lot. That's what we see. It's basically F-150s.
Can't believe
or Ram 2500s or the Silverado 1500. We see them. That is of the Canadian cars are probably 98% of those.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What other are there some other pain points within your side of the business and logistics? Are there some other pain points that you guys have really focused in on, and that you could probably bring about some change?
The biggest thing is the back office. I mean, Dave, talking when we started piloting this with Dave, he was cutting 60, 70 checks a month to 50 transporters, getting W-9s, getting insurance forms, doing 1099s at the end of the year, doing all this legwork. It basically got to a point where he had to hire someone, to just manage the transportation side. We take all the back office things off your plate. And Jeff, front sales and the accounting side and the car dealership sometimes want to kill each other. So we try to smooth that process out. The accounting office cuts, there's one payment. It's Autosled. We handle all of the verifications. We handle all the 1099s. We handle all the payments to the transporters. So it's like they're dealing with one, they have one vendor and they're out. So all that does is streamline, again, efficiency of their back office, like we do for the sales guys or the inventory, moving their cars. We make their back office more efficient, which is huge. We've seen people reallocate resources, in their stores to do something else because they don't have that anymore.
And what we've seen is some of these bigger groups that we're working with, they have buying centers now, which the people in the stores, the managers and sales managers or salespeople are not buying the cars as much as they have these centralized buying centers, and then they're being distributed to the stores as needed. That makes it easier for them, where they just have one place to go, and in one place we do all that verification, like Dan said, for the insurance and stuff. Because some of the people aren't even close to the stores. They're working remotely, but they're buying cars for the dealers. And then they ultimately put them in the system and they get shipped. But then the manager or salesperson or whoever at the dealer level can see it coming. And it's pretty interesting because we've really worked hard with the uniformity of the bill of lading. So the dealer gets a standard uniform process on or presentation on everyone, but the dealers can go in and see the pictures and see other things that they might not have seen if a centralized buying service or team is buying for that group. But that's been a big plus. We've heard that a bunch, that they're really looking at the pictures, and then ultimately the buying team is looking at pictures at pickup to even compare to what they purchased against a condition report. So that's been interesting too. That we've had it seems like it almost happens every day now, where they're asking or they're suggesting or saying that, boy, we looked at something. Do you see this? Do you see that damage or this? Because the vehicle condition report I bought is a little bit different. And so when a driver's getting to another dealer or to an auction to pick up we're requiring these pictures and to be put into the app so the dealers can see them on the desktop and then compare it if they're going back for arbitration issues or anything that they're trying to fight with the seller.
Okay.
Man, we've definitely covered a lot here.
We've covered a lot. Again, come see me, 3323.
Well, I was also just thinking about
in ports, right?
What did you say?
Oh, $100,000 in ports.
That's right.
Yeah, come see us. Whatever you need.
I was thinking about our podcast that we did last week, and this sort of falls into the same line where different parts of this business that, at least on the dealership level, you don't take into consideration what all goes into it. And this is definitely, obviously one of those channels.
Well,
so it's great to have you guys.
Saying he learned a lot today.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the situation that I was in. In the general manager dealer level, I just still loved buying cars and thought it was something that I should take and keep on my plate because it's other than the land, right? You have a lot of money tied up in used cars, and so you can arguably maybe you could talk about parts inventory, but it's arguably your biggest investment other than your building, right? So I take it serious and responsible, but I would realize how much time I was spending answering phone calls and texts and emails and trying to figure out all those things we talked about. And chasing people down for payments that I owed seemed like a waste of time, right? But when I knew the vehicles were delivered, but yeah, it's almost hard to put a price tag on that. How much time that you just waste on those things when you should be really working with customers or calling customers or making deals or trying to figure out how to merchandise the stuff you already have in a better manner.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was something to calculate that. Boy, it's not on any financial statement in a car dealership I've ever seen, but it'd be an interesting case if it was.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to calculate that.
Okay.
Boy, if there was.
So
you guys are going to be at NADA. You're going to be giving the opportunity for $100,000. And what's the booth number again? And if anyone wants to at least reach out to you, maybe go through a demo or just have a conversation with you, what's the best way to go about?
Yeah, we're booth 3323, Hall C over by the NADA. My email is david@autosled.com, real simple, david@autosled.com. So in the email and call me 678-794-1787. Call, text, smoke signal, whatever, 678-794-1787. And whenever, I'd love to give you a demo or hopefully meet you face to face at NADA.
David, awesome. I'll definitely see you there.
Cool.
Oh, awesome.
Right.
That's
Sorry,
right.
I can't come.
Yeah, make sure you guys connect.
Yeah, the ops guy's got to run back and make sure this place doesn't burn to the ground.
Well, gentlemen, we really appreciate it.
Good.
Well, thank you guys for having us.
Okay.
You got
Have a good week.
Take care. Talk soon.
See you guys.
Everyone have a good weekend.
You too.
You as well.